English class. Hope you all are staying safe. Children, in today's class, I'm gonna teach you poem. But before I tell you what the topic is, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. How many months in a year? What month is it now? Which month is the hottest? In which month is Christmas Day? Which month is between June and August? And which month is your birthday? Very good. I hope you all know what are the months in a year. So can you all tell along with me? Okay, come on. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. Very good. So these are the 12 months in a year. So children, this is what the theme of a poem is all about. So a topic of the poem is the months. I repeat, our topic of this poem is the months, written by Christina Georgina Rossetti. And now let's see about the poet. Christina Georgina Rossetti, she was born in the year 1830 and died in the year 1894. She was an English poet. She wrote various romantic poems, devotional and children poems. And her famous poems are like Goblin Market and Remember. And she also wrote the words of two Christmas carols which is well known in the United Kingdom. The poems like In the Bleak Midwinter and Love Came Down at Christmas. So children, who is the poet of this poem? Yes, Christina Georgina Rossetti. Very good. And next about the poem. The poet describes what happens each month of the year in a single line. This poem contains 10 lines. And the highlight of this poem is written in a simple way. Okay children, now I read the poem. Listen carefully. January cold, desolate. February all dripping wet. March wind ranges. April changes. Birds sing in tune. To flowers of May and sunny June brings longest day. In scorched July, the storm clouds fly. Lightning torn, August bears corn. September fruit in rough October. Earth must disrobe her. Stars fall and shoot in keen November, and night is long and cold is strong in bleak December. Okay children, now let's see the first stanza in detail. January cold, desolate. February all dripping wet. March wind ranges. April changes. Birds sing in tune. So here in the first stanza, the poet describes the first 4 months of a year. Children, what is the first 4 months of a year? Yes, they are January, February, March and April. So these are the first 4 months of a year. Children, as you can see here in the very first line of this poem, the poet described the month of January as a cold, desolate. Here, the word desolate means empty with no people or nothing pleasant. In simple way, it means miserable or lonely. I repeat, desolate means miserable or lonely. So here you may think that why the poet described January as cold, desolate. Well, I tell you, she described because the place where she is living is a cold, chilling weather and there were no people on the street and the place looks lonely and empty. And that's why the poet describes the month January as a cold, desolate. And for February, the poet described it as a dripping wet. Here the word dripping means very wet. I repeat, dripping means very wet. In general, drip means drop or drizzle. So the poet says this month is a very wet month and all the wetness refers to the dewdrops and the rain that's occurred in this month. Yes, children, for them, February is the rainy month. And that's why the poet says February is the dripping wet. And for March, the poet says that this month is the wind ranges. Children, have you heard the sound of wind? And how it sounds? So here the poet says March is a month where the wind blows in full swing. While the fourth month of the year, that is April month, changes it all because April marks the changes from dark weather to good and cheerful weather. And this month, that is April, also welcome people with the songs of birds. Okay, children, that's all about the first stanza. Now I read the stanza again. Listen carefully. January cold, desolate. February all dripping wet. March wind ranges. April changes. Birds sing in tune. Okay, children. Now I explain the second stanza detailedly. Listen carefully. To flowers of May and sunny June brings longest day. In scorched July, the storm clouds fly. Children, in this second stanza, the poet says about the month of May, June, and July. Here, the poet says that in the month of May, the flowers bloom in full stream. Children, look at this picture. Here, the poet says that in the month of May, the flowers bloom in full stream. And as you all already know that in the month of June is the hottest month. Right, children? Yes, while in the month of June, the days are sunny with longest day and we feel extremely hot. Also in the month of July, the poet says that in the month of July, the sun is crossing with stormy clouds flying. In a simple way, the poet says that they face severe thunderstorm lightning through clouds as if tearing them apart. Children, have you ever heard the sound of thunderstorm? Children, I read once again this stanza. To flowers of May and sunny June brings longest day. In scorched July, the storm clouds fly. And next, third stanza. August bears corn, September fruit, in rough October, earth must disturb her. Children, in this stanza, the poet describes the month of August, September, and October. In this stanza, first she describes the month of August and September or harvest months because in August they get to enjoy the golden corns and in September they enjoy the sweet fruits to eat. I repeat, in August they get to enjoy the golden corns while in September they enjoy the sweet fruits to eat. Also, the poet described the month of October as a rough month because during this month the trees shed their leaves down and the days in this month are shorter. In a simple way, the poet says that in the month of October the leaves become dry and fall down from the tree, which makes it look like the tree has undressed itself. I repeat, the poet says that in the month of October the leaves become dry and falls down from the tree, which makes it look like the tree has undressed itself. And children, that's why the poet calls the month of October as a rough month. Okay, children? Yes. And now, children, look at the last stanza and listen carefully. Stars fall and shoot in keen November, and night is long and cold is strong in bleak December. Children, in this stanza, the poet described about the month of November and December. The poet says that in the month of November has clear, cold and long nights. In this month, stars fallen and shoot which refers to the falling of leaves from the trees. And that's why the poet calls this month as Keen November. Also, she describes the month of December as the bleak month, which means cold, dull, and colorless month. Why? Because in this month, that is in the December month, they feel extremely cold and dull and inactive in their work. And that's why the poet calls this month as the bleak month. Which month? Yes, December month. December month is called as bleak month. Okay, children, that's all about the poem. Now, let's see the hard words. Desolate, miserable, lonely. Desolate, miserable or lonely. Tune, tune, which means melody or song. Drip, drip, which means drop or drizzle. Drop or drizzle. Scorched, which means slightly burnt. Lightning torn, lightning torn, which means with lightning flashing through clouds as if tearing them apart. Disrobe her, disrobe her, which means here became bare because of the trees shedding their leaves. Keen, keen, which means here cold. Bleak, bleak, which means cold, dull and colorless. Bleak, B-L-E-A-K, bleak, which means cold, dull and colorless. Okay children, so for today's homework is that you have to write any 5 hard words in your rough note. Okay children, I repeat, you have to write any 5 hard words in your rough note, and after completing your homework, send it through GCR. Okay children? Okay, I hope you all understood this session. Thank you. Okay children, I hope you all understood and enjoyed this session. Thank you.